Hello friends, this video will be covering the going concern concept about the key consideration for the auditors under the COVID-19. Here friends, we have believed or we have dependent on the guidelines given by the ICAI and for the going concern concept. We have taken some of the points directly from the guidelines and the screenshots wherever we have it is possible to taken from the guideline only. We tried to explain very quickly and looking at the practical aspect of the organization so that we can the auditor can uh, talk to people, the management, by looking at the present condition of COVID-19. So let us start with the one by one the points. Before we starting friends, we will just read the guidance given by the ICAI under the Audit and Assurance Standard Board. These guidance have been prepared to highlight the key areas of the focus in the current environment where uh, the undertaking procedures relating to and concluding on the appropriateness of the management use of the going concern concept. This guidance does not amend or override the any essays. Reading this guidance is not a substitute for reading the essays. Preparers to those charged with the governance and users for financial statements may find this guidance helpful in considering or the understanding the auditor's responsibilities in relation to the going concern concept as well as any modification made to the auditor's report in respect of the uncertainties related to the going concern. Here, the auditor is supposed to ask certain questions to the management so that he can understand whether the projections made by the management is proper, looking at the COVID-19 situation. The board of directors of every company are required to make the statement in the director's responsibility statement referred in section 134.5 of Companies Act 2013 that the directors had prepared the annual accounts on the going concern basis. Whether the board has reasonable expectations that the company will be able to continue in operations and meet its liabilities as they fall due over the period of its assessments. Friends, some companies have the impression that this is the issue of evaluating the going concern is of the auditor and not of the management, but it is not true. Management will need to give the significant consideration of this area, especially in the current environment of the COVID-19. We have taken this paragraph straight from the guidance note where it is informed that in completing the work related to the going concern in the current environment, auditors should focus on all the requirements set out in the SA 570, which is revised. That is going concern. Where the management have determined that the current situation or the current circumstances are not expected to have any material financial impact on the entity and that no material uncertainties related to going concern exist, that the auditor's responsibility is very high to understand why it is so and why the management is having the same belief. Reference should also be made to the implementation of the guidance or to SA 570 going concern issued by the auditing and assurance standards. I have just taken a snapshot of these key questions that all the auditor should consider due to COVID-19. First is, has the management performed the preliminary assessment of the entity ability to continue as a going concern? Second is, were there interruption in supply or production cycle of the entity due to COVID-19 outbreak? If so, what is the plan of the management? Do this event or the conditions cause significant doubt about the entity's ability as a going concern? And are these disruptions expected to continue for certain period in the future? Did the auditor note any contradiction in audit evidence provided by the entity in case of certain assumptions? Fourth is, are there any financial difficulties resulting in additional credit risk higher than the usual bad debts and potential impairment and write-offs? Are there any potential issues related to debt, including debt covenants, which are applicable to the entity? looking at the future risk. Has management considered this situation in their assessment of the entity's ability to continue as a going concern? And the last one is whether the auditor considered the risk of inadequate disclosure in the financial statements related to the COVID-19 outbreak, and what is the recovery plan of the management. Now, the guidance note has divided this consideration into various parts. The first part is the regulatory consideration. This consists of the 4 points. The first one is the impact of measurement taken by the government in all the countries where the entity operates. Changes to the entity's access to the capital impacted by the measures taken by the regulators, maybe industry or the bank. The entity's ability to prepare timely and financial statements or other required information and filings, including the delay in the receiving the financial data. And the fourth one is the entity's ability to meet the regulatory ratios, which is normally they are able to in the year-to-year basis. The second part related to the operating environmental consideration. Here friends, the auditor will have to ask certain questions to the management, or while doing the audit he will have to consider these questions in mind so that he will be able to justify his findings during the audit. The first one is the level of loss revenue during this 5 or 6 months and the cash flows. Second is the level of pricing and the volume volatility impacting the revenue. Then third is impact of foreign exchange fluctuation onto the sales or any other hedging or non-hedging criteria, year-end outstanding of the liabilities. The risk relating to the delivering products and services. Example, the workforce may be being ill or plant is not working or plant is under quarantine at that point of time. What is the risk to the organization? Significant deterioration in the value of the current assets. Sometimes the inventory is perishable or the inventory is outdated during this time, or the goods are not lifted by the customers, and sometimes the amount has to be write off as a inventory. It will have a very big impact on the current assets. Loss of existing contracts and future contracts, particularly if facilities are being repurposed to support restructuring or recover losses arising the COVID-19. Sometimes there are contracts which has an expiry date, and because of this the organization may not be able to complete the contract. At that point of time, what are the loss of the future as well as the current contract. Next one is inability to honor the certain terms of the contract. There may be some contract having some penalties or some kind of stuff where the organization will have to meet the deadline, and if it is not done, then what about those penalties. Foreign exchange fluctuations and how these have been considered. You have seen the foreign exchange has increased, the rate of exchange of the US dollar is increased by 75-76 rupees. So what is that how the organization is planning to mitigate those risks. Customers finding other other sources of supply during the COVID-19. Sometimes if the plant is in some containment zone or where the supply or the production is not allowed, then supplier or the other people of the business, they may find the alternate solution. So what kind of effect that the organization will have because of such alternative solution is available to the customers. The ability of the business model to operate under the COVID-19 restrictions, and where the business model will be sustainable post COVID-19. Example, travel and leisure industry. Raw material pricing may be sometime because of the inability of the sources sourcing the suppliers or the sourcing the raw material, the prices may go high. Prices or even the labor cost may go high. So what is the impact of those escalations because of this particular pandemic situation? Increase in operating cost or the cost of supplies due to the restrictions related to COVID-19, and anticipated additional cost on account of the adjusting the post COVID-19 scenario. some of the operating costs. For example, the transportation costs. Earlier, in a 60 seater bus, you may be allowed full strength. Now it is only 30% or 40%. Then the price may increase. So what is the effect of such costs onto the production or the plant? Then look at the liquidity consideration. How this, the auditor will have to see how the effect of this situation has affected on the liquidity of the company. Risk relating to the receivables. There may be some delays in the incoming fund. Loss in ability to factor trade receivables. Impact of trade financing products such as letter of credits, forfeiting or shipping and payment terms, etc. Risk of significant business expansion into a new sector that is not sustainable now or may not be sustainable in the future. Adverse movement in bond yields leading to a deterioration of the value of the investment in the organization in the other industry, and the adverse market movements. Further, under the liquidity, he may ask about the sources of available cash with the shareholders, including related party. How this quasi capital can help the organization during such pandemic situation. Position of asset liability mismatch, especially in case of financial institutions, and the adverse implication of such arm's length margin gap. Determination of whether funding facilities are on the demand or committed, and any representation or warranties required by funding arrangement, and if there is a risk of funding being withdrawn. Sometimes the organization must have given the warranties or the certain kind of the commitment. So how that will affect the liquidity of the organization. The impact of funding is due to but not limited to potential covenant breaches. There may be some covenants or the contracts where the organization is not able to complete it. So what is the impact of that? Material adverse changes, material adverse event clauses in the debt agreements, maybe the bank agreements or maybe some kind of the other agreements, unsecured agreements. Debt maturity profile and the impact of COVID-19 on the refinancing risk. If certain debts are matured and if it is to be refinanced, then what kind of the impact onto the risk, onto the liquidity. Risk of contingent liability, maybe bank guarantees or performance bank guarantees or bonding, etc. which may be due, but sometime we have given the guarantees and we are not able to fulfill the requirement, and the bank may invoke or the customer may invoke the bank guarantees, and how it will affect the organization. Sometimes some cases are going on and there may be a contingent liability that is to be seen. Risk that the parent company will no longer support to the business. Sometimes mostly the parent company may support, but there is the chance that if the parent company is also into that particular country where there is a big impact because of the COVID-19, at that point of time how the parent company will support to the organization in India. Now the second last part is management information and forecasting capability consideration. The auditor may ask about the forecasting, but he will also need to check that what kind of the assumptions the management has taken while preparing the forecasting. So first is quality and timeliness of the financial and operational information used to manage the day-to-day business. Appropriateness of the methodology or the approach to the short-term cash forecasting. Management track record on the forecasting expenditure such as cost reduction, plant restart due to COVID-19. So here the auditor will have to see the strength of the management, that whatever the assumptions they are planning, it should be they must be having the track record of which they are using that particular track record as a trend, and based on that they are planning the future cash flows as well as the collection and the payment to the suppliers or the other part fixed expenses or any other expenditure, so that the liquidity can be managed, or possibility of the liquidity to be managed to prove that the company will be a going concern. Whether the management prepared a reverse stress test liquidity or solvency, and wherever applicable covenant compliance with the consider the maximum downside risk that would need to be managed through. First of all, the management should plan the original liquidity projections, that is called as the cash flow, maybe direct or the indirect method, and then they always see that it should be having the stressed test of that particular liquidity. If stress test can be given by decreasing approximately 10% of the revenue and increasing 5% of the expenses. Under that scenario or the situation, if the company is able to manage the liquidity, then we can say that it is focus is capable of sustaining the COVID-19. Whether the management has put in place actions in defining contingency plans for all aspects of the business. This is very simple, but auditor need to check. Mitigating factors that can be considered by auditor. Any mitigating actions are available to the management. Example: capital expenditure reduction in the dividends, suspension of the non-performance based bonuses, deferral of the payments of principal and the interest whatever the government has declared, cost reduction actions, working capital reduction by reduction in the inventory as well as its customer outstanding, taxation payments holidays whatever we have taken from the government, or any deferrals, or COVID-19 driven government funding which is declared by the government, asset liquidation, government supported self retention schemes, and other governmental measures. This all they need to check that whether the organization has taken the benefit of this particular thing, so that the loss can be mitigated. Arrangement with lenders to lend against any government guaranteed cash flows to improve the liquidity. And nevertheless, the auditor should consider whether the impact of any mitigating factors have been reflected in the revised business plan or the forecast. For example, reduced capital expenditure or sale of any assets which are of no use. Few questions which is given in the guidelines. The first question is whether evaluating the management assessment of the entity, the ability to continue as a going concern, what period should be used by the auditor. Mostly the SA 560 defined that it should be 12 months, but if it is not, the management has taken lesser than 12 months, then auditor should ask, or should he should remain alert for the consider the consequences of known or the any expected event that will occur soon after the 12 months. So mostly it is 12 months. Whether the position, the second question is whether the position of as on the balance sheet date, that is 31st March 2020, or the position of the company's post lockdown when auditor are signing the auditor's reports, should be the basis for the assessing the going concern concept. So here the question is that the auditor should check the position as of the balance sheet date or the position of the company post lockdown. So the response given by the guideline is if the management assessment of the entity ability to continue as a going concern covers less than 12 months from the date of the financial statements, the auditor shall request management to extend its assessment period to the at least 12 months. Beyond the period of management assessment, that may cast significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. The third question is how management should update or change its assessment of the entity ability to continue as a going concern from the previous period in the current situation. So here the auditor should always see that whenever the management has prepared the projections, So mostly the management typically relies upon the historical financial results, and the non changes whatever is there based on the industry data or the competitor data, he will improve the assumptions or the improve the cash flows and all. However, given current economic and the market condition, historical financial results are unlikely to provide the basis for the future cash flows, and therefore the management will likely to need to consider the additional sources of the information. So, auditor should see that the following sources of the information may provide the evidence. One is the industrial report, second is the analysis report, and the third is the third party studies. If this is covered by the auditor, then he can go ahead with the particular thing. We should also see that whether the data from the World Health Organization (WHO) or the local institutions have taken into account. Data from the government source about this severity and the estimated duration of economic downturn and the actions the government may take to mitigate the effect, that is to be taken into account. The auditor should ask management to re-challenge the forecast and assumptions that have not been updated for the current events. For example, forecast developed before the COVID-19 outbreak and after the COVID-19 outbreak. With circumstances changing rapidly due to COVID-19 with severe impact in some industries, making the required projections to assess the entity ability to continue as a going concern concept. So this is what he need to do for the check from his point of view. The fourth question is, which audit procedure should an auditor perform to evaluate management plans for future actions and the feasibility of those plans? Here, the broadly I would say evaluate the reliability of the underlying data generated to prepare the forecast, determine whether there is an adequate support for the assumption like the management has underlying for the forecast. To evaluate management plan, the auditor should discuss with the management its plans to liquidate the assets, borrow money, or restructure the debt, reduce or defer expenditures, or increase ownership equity. The auditor should also assess the likelihood of the plans being implemented effectively and within the acceptable time frame. For each significant assumptions, the auditor should evaluate management's ability and intent to carry out the action on which the assumption is based, including whether the assumption is consistent with the management expectations of the outcome, specific objectives and strategies. Another question is, how should an auditor report a material uncertainty related to the going concern in the auditor's report? And how does the adequacy of the management related to disclosure affect the auditor's report? Here, friends, I would say that the auditor should report as per the guidance note given and about the material uncertainty. The one small paragraph is given in the guidance note. I just read it out. We draw attention to note number so and so in the financial statements which has a material uncertainty. We need to describe that particular thing here. As stated in the note number so and so, these events or conditions along with the other matters as set for the note number 10 or note number so and so indicate that the material uncertainty exists that may cast significant doubt on the company's ability to continue as a going concern. Our opinion is not modified in respect of the matter. Guidance note has given brief and very good explanations about how to report such thing. However, if adequate disclosure about the material uncertainty is not made in the financial statement, the auditor should express a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion depending on the pervasiveness of the matter to the financial statements. That is the inadequacy of the disclosures. Next question is about how the matter related to evaluation of the entity ability to continue as a going concern considered in the determination of the key audit matters. Here, guidance note says that we should it should be under the key audit matters, but if it is not and if it is very severe, then it should be, instead of reporting under the key audit matters, the material uncertainty in a separate section of the auditor's report in accordance with the SA 570. In other cases, the judgments the auditor makes in his evaluation may be matter that required significant auditor attention and therefore are the considered as the auditor's determination of the claim. This varies with the case to case basis also, so I am not going much detail onto this. Can an auditor rely on the support letter from the parent company? So the answer is yes, the auditor can rely onto the letter from the parent company, but before rely on that, they should also obtain and evaluate information obtained in the public domain about the investor or the parent company who has issued support letter, and obtain information from the auditor of the investor or the parent company if they can provide insight into the financial viability of the parent company. Next question is, what is the responsibility of the auditor if the management itself concludes that the going concern assumption is not valid and prepares the financial statements considering net realizable values of the assets? It prepares on a liquidity basis accounting. Yeah, friends, if it is so, then in such cases, the auditor should refer paragraph number 21 of SA 570 and corresponding application guidance in paragraph A27 of SA 570 revised. Paragraph A27 states that when the use of the going concern basis of the accounting is not appropriate in the circumstances, the management may be required or may elect to prepare the financial statements on another basis, that is a liquidation basis. The auditor may be able to perform and audit those financial statements provided that the auditor determines that the other basis of accounting are acceptable in the circumstances. Here the auditor will have to emphasize on matter paragraph in the accordance with the SSL 706 revised in the auditor's report to draw the user's attention to that alternative basis of accounting and the reasons for that particular use. Now friends, lastly we will see that whatever is the situation SA 570 revised that apply to assessing going concern make it necessary for the auditor to discuss the impact of COVID-19 on the entities with management, that is one. Obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence and to assess whether the disclosure given by the management is appropriate. Document the audit evidence and their consideration in such a way that he will be able to explain whenever it is required. Lastly, there are few things which auditor will have to take it at the time of the audit, which is specified under the appendix A under the guidance note. This additional audit procedures are relevant to the requirement in the paragraph 16 of the SA 570. Here the auditor will have to undergo the certain questionnaires or prepare certain questions and see that the answer is given or as the desired based on his reporting structure. First, analyzing and discussing cash flow, profit and other relevant forecasts with the management. Second, analyzing and discussing the entity's latest available interim financial statements, reading the terms of debenture and the loan agreements for the covenants and determine whether any have been breached, reading minutes of meetings of the shareholders, those charged with the governance and relevant committee for the reference of the financing difficulties, Inquiring of the entity's legal counsel regarding the existence of any litigation and claims and the reasonableness of the management assessment of their outcome. Confirming the existence, legality and enforceability of the arrangement to provide or maintain the financial support with related and third parties, and assessing the financial ability of such parties to provide additional funds. This is very important, friends. Third party and the related party. This will affect the notes to accounts of the company. Evaluating the entity's plans to deal with the unfilled customer orders and how to fill those particular vacuum. Performing audit procedure regarding subsequent event to identify those that either mitigate or otherwise affect the entity ability to continue as a going concern. Here the events occur after balance sheet date will take a major role. There is a separate guidance note given on the events occurring after balance sheet date, particularly for the COVID-19. Users and the listener should go through that also. Confirming the existence, terms and adequacy of the borrowing facilities, obtaining and reviewing the reports of the regulatory actions, and finally determining the adequacy of support for the any planned disposal of the assets for the cash flow. Friends, we have prepared this particular guidance note looking at the small and medium sized companies and maybe above the medium size, and we request you to go through the guidance note whatever is given by the or the declared by the ICAI before you take any actions on such things. It is nicely explained in the guidance note about what the auditor should have asked, what they should ask a question to management, how they can challenge the forecast of the organizations that may must have prepared, how they can stress the whatever the projections the management has prepared, and how the questionnaires can be prepared so that they can cover all the things, and how the auditor also can goes into the shoes of the organization and see that whether the organization is able to mitigate the risk. Here the auditor will have to play a major role that whether the company is can be possible for the organization that he can be a going concern or he should not be planning for the liquidation. So friends, thank you very much. There are few disclaimers also here so that the people can go through the real guidance note given by the institutes. Thank you very much for friends for your patience listening. Thank you very much.